Diane, our treasurer, is here, and Chief Abbott and Chairman Stewart from the PFC, and also Chair Bloom in our audience. Welcome to the meeting. A motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Fluger, second by Zerflu. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda passes. Public comment. Mr. Bloom, do you have any comment for our?
Keep up doing the good work.
Thank you. Chief Abbott, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
Chairman Stewart?
No, thanks.
Okay. The chairman, I have no comment at this time. Number 6, discussion, a motion to approve wages and benefit package and a start date to fill a vacant full-time police officer position. I will make the motion.
I will second.
Motion by myself, second by Fluger. Discussion. I guess a little bit that Ben has prepared for us with along with Chief Abbott. There, I believe it's here. That we would start a lateral transfer because of the being a lateral, that this person wouldn't, any person that would come there would need all the training as an entry level where somebody's just out of school. They do have some experience. So we would start the payout at $30.91 range, and after that, they would be a probationary period of 1 year. Everything else is the same as the labor package is 2025 weeks vacation upon first year of employment, necessary time 40, sick leave, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same thing that we have for our employees at an entry level. And I believe that this person that they're looking at, the Police and Fire Commission has set forward an eligibility list to Chief Abbott for his approval when he decides that he would like to approve this. I guess as far as the starting date for any full-time officer, I think we were looking at end of April the 28th. Is that correct, Mr. Martinson?
Yes, that's the start of a pay period, so that would work out good for everybody.
Okay, so if that's agreeable upon the chief, we're just here to look at the wages. Does anybody else have any question on the wage proposal? Trustee Zerflu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's not much of an instruction here. I'm presuming that after a year, we're gonna go to 3201 automatically when he's got 24 months in, or that range, or are we starting him off there? What is that? You got level 2 and level 3. Is he gonna start at level 2?
Mr. Martinson?
So he'll, trustee, Zerfel, he'll start at 3091, starting, if April 28th is the date for 1 year. So then next April 20th, 2026, he'd move up to level 3. He'd start level 2 for 1 year, then you go to level 3 after 1 year. And that is where our officers today are at. Full-time officers is the 3201 level 3.
Well, I'm the only one that feels this way. Can everybody kind of misunderstood me at the beginning, thinking that this isn't, we're not hiring them, we're just talking about wages. I get that, but I still think this will be the first one I've been involved with or around that we didn't at least get to meet the guy or the girl. Like when Scott Drew went to chief, we had a very good meeting with him, bantered back and forth about wages and stuff. Now, I know Scott's a hometown boy, but I am very tempted to abstain voting, and by Roberts, that is taken as a negative vote, even though I don't have to say negative. So I just kind of would like to hear from the other 2 trustees, if you guys have to say. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Nothing to do. I know these guys hired. And I know Chairman Stewart not gonna hire somebody that's not qualified. That's not my point. I like to get the feel for him.
Trustee Luger, do you have any opinion?
My understanding on this, and again, I have absolutely no problem with, taking the candidate that's been put forward, obviously. Like you said, you put forward good people. That's where we're at. My understanding of the FHRIT is that we're only here to approve things related to finance, HR and IT. The hiring and the firing and the demotions and the promotions is all done through
As I
PFB
just said,
and Public Safety Committee. My understanding is that that would possibly be something for public safety to take up, but for FHRIT, my understanding is that we're only here to talk about dollars and cents and benefits and wages.
public safety just has to do with the operations after it starts.
Correct. So, that's
And
my,
That's both ways.
correct. My understanding is that if that would be something where we'd want to meet the gentleman, the candidate, whoever it might be, that would be something that public safety would do, not necessarily FHRIT.
Well, that is true, but that would have to come referral directly from the chief of police if he alone.
Correct. So we had talked about doing that on a different day. Wednesday, I believe, was thrown out there. I'm unavailable to make a Wednesday meeting in the morning. So if you can run it.
Well, it doesn't matter, we still don't get to meet him. I don't care what the reasons are.
Correct. So I'm just trying to stay consistent with how we normally do things. And I was not here when Chief Drew. Well, and again, that's kind of an apples to oranges type thing, because you're hiring a department head as opposed to a deputy.
You know,
What was done the last time we hired a
March
deputy?
20th, 1978, I had a meeting with the Public Safety Committee at the time. We didn't have PFC to go over negotiation, as far as what wages.
Mhm.
I'll admit, back in those days, there wasn't a whole lot of interest in what I had to say, but at least I got to sit down and meet the people.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I see both sides of this, with the FHR, again, just the wages. I think, in my personal opinion, if we wanted to meet, that would have to come with the PFC. I know that and again, it was a different, it's apple to oranges. When they had chiefs, they had two candidates. They had a meet and greet down at the Alexander House, and I think they did that prior to maybe even the other chief that was here. So I think personally, that would have to come out of the protective Police and Fire Commission if we were gonna meet and greet, or somebody beforehand. Mr. Stewart, do you have going off table? Do anybody have any objections going off table to Mr. Stewart?
if I may interrupt, Mr. Chairman, that is apples and oranges. I'm talking about the wages again. They have nothing to do with it, as we have nothing to do with their hiring.
Right.
It's just a matter, and I've had a talk with the president too about my feelings that, it's just, I don't want to get bogged down in how it used to be. But we start getting into this dangerous zone is where, and I'm not picking on Ben, be it the village administrator, or be it the PFC, start getting into the operations of the police department. That is totally the board's business, and particular, the public safety, and that's probably why I like to meet with the people. And another thing, I was chief for 22 years. Scott knows, you just even when you don't sit in the chair, you just like to have that mano-a-mano contact. So I'm done.
Okay. President Mansell?
I guess for me, I don't remember meeting with Brandon or Josiah when we hired them. Granted, I knew them, but I don't remember, did the board meet with you? And, and if we take it out of the lens of public safety of where Mr. Zerflu's realm is, I don't remember meeting any of the public works guys to talk about this kind of stuff either. It was a board decision. This is what it is. Now, if they would want to come back and say, hey, I don't agree with this, I think that would be different, but just giving them the offer, I think this is what we're supposed to be doing this way, I guess, is my understanding.
Yeah, if we look at the past to the present, there's probably different things that have probably occurred, and maybe that's something that we can look forward in the future, is setting something where when we get candidates for any position, we set up a standard guideline on what we're going to do. You know, I recall before I got hired part-time, I had to go, and that was moons and moons ago. I had to go in front of the board. And then that was when Chief Buoltz was here. And then I had to meet with the board, and then it was okayed before I became quote part-time. So I guess, you know, the standards have changed and the boards have changed. So things have kind of changed back and forth. So I think what we could do in the future, and maybe we can do this as a board, I'm not sure what committee that would come through. If we decide on how we want to go forth of setting a certain policies or standards of, if we have candidates, we need to have X amount of trustees meet with the candidate before, you know, that's something where we could do a standard for all employees. And I guess that would probably come out of FHR, but at this point in time, you know, we have the PFC. And I guess my feelings is I just want to do the wage and the benefit package here this evening.
May I make a suggestion?
Yeah, fine.
I'm wondering, maybe an answer to this, some middle ground to this, maybe for the Police and Fire Commission to consider changing the rules to add another phase, not in the hiring process, not in the decision to hire or fire or demote or promote, but rather a phase where input and feedback and a welcoming occur at a location where trustees and other members of the community can come and meet our candidate, no matter what level it is. We did that successfully with the police chief position. And Joe is on the same page as me in that we both know there's a fine line. The PFC should not get close to wages, operations, any of the, you know, operating manual policies. But in the same token, no one else by state law can get close to the PFC's exclusive jurisdiction of hiring process. So we're in agreement on that. I just as a side note, this kid, you know, he's done a couple of years at UW Stevens Point, been a policeman for a couple of years. He actually performed an internship in this village, 2021. So, and it's interesting, one of the things that PFC does in their application process, you know, our first phase is application and resume review. Part of the application for our PFC is to write an essay on a couple of questions. One of those questions is, why do you want to work for Port Edwards? So, and just for your edification, this young man, explained that he chose this community because he loves this community, that he did an internship here. He got a real good look at policing in a small community. He went on a variety of calls, worked closely with the fire department, the schools, and the village workers. He also made note that this police department in particular showed him a lot of camaraderie and a lot of family-like support. And he did not get that same feeling at UWPD. So I thought that was a really a nice thing to say about this village, nice thing to say about this police department. I think he gets it, what we're looking for in this town. Plus his resume gives us a couple advantages with regard to his background and his training thus far. He, you know, just so everyone remembers, on a lateral transfer for police, our rules do this. You know, normally, and we've done these tests before, normally there's a physical agility test and there's a written test, and then there's a resume review, and then there's a interview and a medical test and a psych test. For lateral transfers, for those police officers who are certified in the state of Wisconsin, in good standing, we exempt the agility test and the written test. And that makes sense because we're buying experience. Matter of fact, I believe Brandon was the first one to come on in the lateral transfer policy, correct? Okay. We may not have gotten him because I know he probably didn't want to run that 5 mile test, you know? Anyway,
Okay.
I understand what Joe's saying. I just want to, and maybe there's something we can do to satisfy that meeting. I think that's valuable. But as long as we all have in our mind, like Joe said, you guys are operations, we're higher, and there's a distinct lawful difference.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Stewart. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, if we can do that, but I don't think that we would just do that for we do that for all departments. I think that we need to make it a standardized thing for somebody that might be coming onto the crew or whatnot. But I think when we do that in the future, and we can put that on the agenda for our next meeting, is to look at a standardization for all new employees coming in. Trustee Zerflu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In closing, there's absolutely no problem with what the PFC does, you know? And they have this program you go through in time and you get it right. So then why are we giving this guy, I mean, that's their business, this guy's starting wage and everything, and we can't take an extra day? Is it just made a time period starting date? I mean, there ain't much time in between for us to get to know them. And that's where not just the starting pay date, but maybe it's just the old man in me, but you really like to kind of smell the roses and see what you're getting type of thing. And in fact, I had a little to do with getting the PFC going here years ago.
Understand, what would happen if you didn't like the way it smelled?
Well, there's not much I can do about it at that point.
Okay, I'm just,
Then I might just go, well, I think he's starting way too high as far as his wages go.
gotcha. Okay,
And that's why everybody starts getting this, well, PFC this and PFC, I get it. I'm talking about here, now.
as it relates to operation salary, I get you
That's
now.
it.
Now I understand.
Chairman, Trustee Fluger.
Point of clarification, who made the recommendation for step 2 or grade level 2? Was that PFC or was that chief?
Brandon and I met.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. If you go by a lateral, if we go by the lateral transfer, if we do it the way it should be, he should be starting at top pay.
Mhm.
Because he has over 2 years' experience as a lateral. But because he's only had 2 years and talking, with Ben, we have probationary period. That's why we have a probationary period. If things don't work out, whatnot. My suggestion was to start there at level 2. It's a little bit more than he makes now. And, that was my suggestion with Ben. And, if it would have been my decision, I would start him at top pay because I think it doesn't matter where we are as police officers. We all do the same job, but that's where Ben and I talked to, and I thought that was a good starting spot for him, so.
Trustee Zerflu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it doesn't start with you, I don't care what the village administrator says, I don't care what anybody else says. If it don't start with you that you feel that way, and when you want to give him a raise, then you see that guy,
Mhm.
Yeah. But if you say, I'm not in favor of this, well, we might as well not even bring it to a committee I'm a member of.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been here if I wasn't in favor of it.
So you're in favor of this proposal?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, with that, any other discussion? Okay. Just one more time, Chief Abbott, you're in favor of this proposal,
Absolutely.
and this stays within our, budget, Mr. Martinson?
Correct.
Okay, with that, I'm gonna take it to a vote. All in favor of the motion?
Mr. President or Chairman, I request a call of a roll call vote, please.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. This time we'll take a vote. All in favor of the motion? Trustee Fluger,
I,
trustee Zerflo,
With reservation, yeah, aye.
and I'm an affirmative, aye. Okay, with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 10 to 5. Thank you so much. Thank everybody for coming and the input.
Now I get to switch chairs.